Let's get to the nitty-gritty of it. Let's say there's a knock on your door. Police, police, or ICE, ICE, open up, open up. The question is, do you have a duty, a responsibility, or any sort of obligation to open your door? Do you have an obligation to open your door? And I'll give you a hint. America's constitution or legacy or history states that your home, and all over the world, your home is your castle. Even if you live in a bamboo hut, your home is your castle. Even if you live in a garage, your home is your castle. Your home is sacred. Your home is sacrosanct. Even if your trailer park is your home, it is your home. It is classified as your living quarters. There are rights attaching to that. There are rights under the Constitution. The right to privacy, the right to your home, the right from interference, the right from discrimination, all these great rights. Read the U.S. Constitution. Buy a copy and keep it with you anywhere you go. Just like how you would keep a copy, coming back to immigration, of your ID. Always keep a copy of your ID, copy of your passport if you don't have ID. Get the New York City ID, copy of whatever shows that you are, Tom Singh or Bhagwati Matar, whatever you may be, whoever you may be, have that form of ID. Your IDs must be consistent. The moment you have IDs saying two different names and three different names, they can say that's fraud. That's a quick time, they would ship you out. They would deport you for fraud. Or as much as your name Bhagwati or Dali in another country, have consistent ID. A lot of people have different names. They change their names. You understand? They use shortened forms. They use call names. And it's on the documents. Try to avoid that. Try to have a consistent legal name you use and stick to in America. Even if it's an any name, be proud of your name. I know of a lady named Mindrawati. Mindrawati. Ashamed of her name, so she said, my name Mindra. Call me Mindra. I mean, why should you be ashamed of your name? Why should you be ashamed of your legacy? Those names have meanings. There were book names given by the Hindus. Be proud of your name. One other man got some name, Jaipal or whatever his name, and he said, call him Paul. Okay, you feel Paul sound more like Americanized. So, brothers and sisters, whatever your name is, stick to it. That's the hard and fast of this rule here. You stick to your name, whatever your name is. Names are by which you are differentiated, and be proud of your name. So you have a consistent ID. Coming back to this knock on your door, knock, knock, police, ICE, immigration, billing department. What do you do, brothers and sisters? What are your rights? What are your rights under the Constitution of this great country? How much do we know about your rights in this great country? But let's get to that. You don't have to open your door. I was at the senior center and I was very impressed. All those seniors, they knew about these rights. They knew. Said, we're not going to open that door. No. And you must think about this. Amazon come, they deliver it, right? They don't knock your door and talk about open up and or so, right? So you know Amazon will leave this stuff. Most people have a camera. They can look in the camera and see who's there. And sometimes ICE does not come with a big sign marking ICE. ICE does not come to your home with a big sign mark ICE or DHS, Department of Homeland Security, or police, or law enforcement, or FBI, or DEA. They do not come with a big tag on their shirt for you to differentiate. They may come undercover. They may come clothed as ordinary citizens. And that means that you will now have to differentiate as to who is who and who is coming at your door. Now, a lot of you people may think, oh, you know what? Perhaps somebody's coming to bring me a nice gift. Perhaps they're bringing me some supplies. Perhaps they're bringing me a nice meal. Let me open my door. No. I've always told people, I have never had anybody bring something great to my door, except a bill to pay or something, a letter that you have to reply to. Never had somebody offer me anything at my door all my 4 decades in America. So you have to now decide, why am I going to open my door and I don't even know what's on the other side? Is that person coming to affect my life? Is that person coming to upend my life? Is that person coming to arrest me? Is that person coming to deport me? Is that person coming to grab me? You have to decide, and the best way to decide that is to stand and exercise your fundamental right. Okay? Now, somebody named Starlight is saying you go back to Guyana because you want to fight PPP for power. Well, the name Starlight, that's the kind of people you have here, that will come out with this foolish stuff. Um, so, my point is, you have a lot of crazy people, you have to avoid them, especially when they come under an assumed name. And you know something? I would proudly fight anybody for power in Guyana if I wanted to. I don't have no qualms about that. I have fought for power here. I have fought for the underdog. I don't have to make any apologies to anybody. I've proudly set the stage, and I've proudly stood up for those who have never had office, who have never been accounted for, and people like Starlight who would hide behind a keyboard and say my name is Starlight and try to attack me. They're barking up the wrong tree. They're barking to a gladiator, a person who's already been through that kind of stuff and understand how dirty and nasty and vicious people could be. They will sell you down the river. So the same way that ICE is coming to your door, you don't open your door. You have a constitutional right not to open your door. If they said if you're not home or if you wish to speak to them through your window or through the door, and they said they have a warrant, said I'd like to see your warrant, sir. Please show me your warrant. If they come and say, listen, we have a warrant to kick down your door. We have a warrant to come into your house. If you don't want to open up, you're going to come inside and we're going to break down the door because we're ICE. Ask them to see the warrant. Look at the warrant. If it is not signed by a judge, if that warrant is not signed by a judge and not by, let's say, an immigration officer or a department officer of the immigration, it cannot be an administrative warrant. It has to be a legal warrant. It has to be a warrant signed by a judge. You have to see the word judge in front of that person's name. And you can Google that person's name. If it's Judge Brown, Judge White, Judge Black, or who? Is this really a judge? You'll come up on Google, oh, Judge Brown or Judge White or Judge Black is a judge of the Supreme Court of the state of New York or a judge of the immigration court. But not someone who is a departmental head, not someone who is an officer of the ICE, not someone who's part of the Department of Homeland Security. Those are not valid warrants. So you don't have to use that as an excuse or as a reason to open your door. You have to ensure that you protect your rights, and you may have kids, you may have family, you have an obligation and a moral duty. How would you want your little kids or your little your children to suffer? And then it's something that shows that you live in this country and you're still not able to understand and appreciate the rights that this great country has given us. And that is a fundamental right, that your home is your castle and you don't have to open your door. If you now, that they come into their house now, or they catch you, or they come into you, or they stop you on the road and said, we're ICE, we're detaining you. If they detain you, then you tell them that you want to speak to an attorney. And don't speak to them, don't sign any documents. If they bring a sign and say you're waiving your rights to be deported, just like how you have waivers in Bahama and Guyana, people trying to push waivers on other people and trying to push documents for them to sign, do not sign any documents. Do not sign any documents, because in signing those documents, you would be most likely giving up your rights, waiving your rights to contest the case, and hence opening yourself and consenting to your own deportation, your own demise, and your own problems in this country. So that is a problem you would have if you give away your rights. You don't just sign away your rights. You have legal counsel. You always ask your attorney to be present. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but to his credit, Mayor Mamdani has been providing services to tenants who've been, unjustly treated by landlords. He's been providing free legal services to, indigent defendants have always had that service, and family court. But now you also have it for immigrants. So if you want to have a lawyer right away and for free and someone who can help you, you have to call like an immigration hotline. You have to call one of the immigration services, or in order to get information, then we call 311. Call 311 and says, I would like to have or know the services for immigration. I am being arrested by ICE. I would like to have legal representation on my own behalf and on my family because ICE has arrested me, or ICE is about to arrest me, or I'm being detained, or I'm being kept now, I'm being handcuffed, and I'm being taken out of my home, I'm being taken from my car, I'm being taken on the streets, call 311 and tell them you want to be connected to a free immigrant services provider. Free immigrant services provider 311. That is a direct connection. Because you may be taken, you'll be so shocked, you'll be so surprised, you'll be so upset that you have to think. You have to think logically and you have to think quickly. What do I do now? I call 311. If ICE is coming to arrest me, if the cops are coming to arrest me, you call for that to have legal assistance, free of charge. And then as the funnels go on, you can decide to hire a more paying lawyer, or you can continue to be, or you may qualify for legal aid, because a lot of folks are below the poverty line and they will qualify for legal aid funded by the state and the federal government and the city government. These are where your taxes go. So you have to understand that these are your taxes that we have paid for you, and your communities, your uncles, your aunts, your parents have paid over time. And it's that money coming back to help you from the city, from the state, and from the federal government. So these are the sort of resources that will assist you in your problems and assist you in trying to get out and so forth. So your taxes are very important. They say immigrants pay more taxes than a typical American. So understand that there are many people who have come here in search of a better life and in search of a dream, and they have done their part. But due to racism and discrimination and very small petty minds, and those who think that there are two classes of Americans, those who were born here, or those whose parents came here, or those whose grandparents came here, and then there's immigrants who recently came, that is a fallacy. That's a bigotry. That's ignorance. All Americans are equal under the Constitution, under law. There's due process of law, and there's equal protection of the law governing everyone. Equal protection of the law. So don't let anybody tell you you're racist, or even some of them are on this chat, come forward and say, oh, why are you giving them advice? Why are you telling them? Why are you helping them? Because we all live here. Every time you buy something in the store, you pay taxes, sales tax. Everybody contributes to this country. Some contribute more. Some families contribute on their behalf. And hence, that is not how America was built. America is a nation of immigrants. America was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of immigrants. It is only a matter of degree that we are Americans. But at the end of the day, we are all Americans. So those who are bigots, those who are perverts, and those who feel that there's classes and tiers of immigrants, you must let them know, well, we don't know no any such concept. We're all Americans. Just like how COVID attacked each and every one of us, or that COVID taught us a lesson, it's the same way that ownership in America or American dignity does not discriminate from a citizen born here or a citizen who migrated and became a citizen here. That is why you should try to become citizens. You should all become citizens because it's the greatest protection and equalization factor you can have. You can have federal jobs, you can have federal protection, you can access equality to the highest level, equal rights, equal protection, equal process, equal treatment under the law. That is why you must become citizens. And most importantly, where many of you have let down many leaders like myself who have tried to give you a better life, who put our heart and soul into campaigns, who didn't need to do this, but who did it of the goodness of our heart, who did it on your behalf. Where I don't need representation, but you need representation in your family and those who have not had the similar sort of education that I have had or the exposure. But we do it to help you. We do it to give back. We do it to help the community. But you all don't go out and vote. You all don't get involved in civic. You all don't get involved in police precincts. You all don't get involved in the black associations. You don't get involved in the community boards. You do yourself a grave disservice as if you were accepting that you were lesser than other people. By doing that, you're accepting that you have a lower class or a lower standard. You believe in and giving faith to the caste system, that you have a lower caste or you are a lower class, and you're not a true American, that you're below American citizenship. But as long as you get American citizenship, as long as you do what is right to equalize the playing field, as long as you do what you've got to do to be the level playing field, then that is the most important thing that you have to do, okay, to become a citizen. So that is the most important thing, and that important part of it is that you have to make sure that you become citizens. Even if, as you would be judged, You want to make sure that you have all the rights and you do not deprive you and your kids of having the fullness of the American dream. Okay? That is the most important thing. There's some idiot saying here about filling pockets, and they come under the user one big long line. I guess that's among the diseases and social diseases they have. But they come on these sites and try to harass you. So you have I'd say no thank you. They don't want to be citizens. You know why? They don't want to be citizens because of the fact that they have a caste system. They have what you call a cockroach mentality. They have the mind of a rat, a mouse, or a snake. And such people you keep away from them. Do not have people like that in your midst. Like I said last night, you put them in the rear view mirror, in the rear lights, and you move ahead. You move right above them, over them, never look back. My father always told me that, and you know the deal. You always have some keyboard warriors, keyboard pontificators, and keyboard idiots who will continue to type and type nonsense, but you have to just don't pay them any mind. They are all part of the cesspool in which we live. And there's a lot of cesspools out there. So these are the rights under immigration. And when you have that, you contest it. If you plead for asylum, if you plead for whatever the case may be, immigration has gotten very tough now. So the partisan policies of the Trump administration, which he told us that he was going to be tough on immigration, a lot of laws have been rolled back, a lot of opportunities have been cut. We can't go into that tonight, but I'll do that as another program, or you can check my previous videos. But the purpose of this video tonight is to educate you and to advise you that under the laws of this great country, you have a right to protect yourself. You have a right not to open your door if ICE comes knocking. You have a right not to be in a situation if you to refuse entry. But at the same time, you have to do the right thing. Do not drink and drive. Do not drink and drive. Do not get into fights. Do not get into arguments. Do not get into public confrontations where police are attracted. It is a law of New York City as a sanctuary city, as Mayor Zoran Mamdani endorsed recently, that in this city we do not pay attention. We will not allow ICE, or we will not ask our police officers to cooperate with ICE. For example, if there's a fighting or there's some kind of motor collision or there's some kind of accident or there's some kind of arrest situation between people, husband and wife, domestic violence or incident, whatever it may be, and the police come to your home and they're investigating, they're not even supposed to ask you your immigration status. Let me repeat that. Police officers are not allowed to ask for your immigration status when investigating a crime. And they're not allowed to turn over that information to ICE or to the federal government. So that's a very important part of the law you have to understand. Police are not ICE. They have their own separate jurisdiction. They have their own portfolios. They have their own immunities. They have their own protocols. And I've confirmed with them, and I've always had lectures to police officers and to other folks on the rights of people and stuff like that concerning this. And that right is, sacred as it is, this is a sanctuary city, and police officers will not and should not and must not turn over information to ICE. Some folks are doing it like in Long Island. Governor Blakeman's, Mr. Blakeman over there said that he was going to enforce that. And that is his jurisdiction. I would imagine, although it may be contestable, that's against the Constitution or legal law or whatever the case may be. But in New York City, here, it being a sanctuary city and other cities in America, ICE is not allowed to arrest you or take information from police and arrest you or be handed over to police if there's an incident and it comes to light that you are not documented. I don't use the word illegal because as folks who have always championed immigrants and immigrants' rights, we don't use the term illegal immigrants or illegal aliens. We use the term undocumented immigrants. So undocumented immigrants do have that right, and they have the right in that sense that they would not be sent home and they will not be turned over to immigration. So this is a very important part of your rights because many people here have undocumented immigrants amongst them. They may have them in their business, they may have them in their homes, they may have them as tenants. These folks need to know their rights. Whilst they're doing that, you don't just sit back. You try to get your green cards. You try to get sponsorship. A lot of people have told me, I don't want to become an immigrant because it is cost too much. That is rubbish. Pay the fees, pay the immigration fees, whatever it is. It sometimes it goes up quite regularly. The government wants revenue also. Um, so you have to pay that fee, make that sacrifice. Many of you have been waiting and waiting and waiting years after years. I know a lot of you come to me and say, you tell me apply for citizenship and I didn't apply yet and 10 year done pass. Well, you shouldn't be proud of that because you are not doing the American way. You are not level the playing field. You are not organizing yourself. You are not living up to the standards and ideals of America. Perhaps you're in the wrong country. In this country, you apply for citizenship as soon as you can get it. Apply, become immigrants, so you would have the rights. And you cannot be deported if you are an immigrant, if you are a citizen, sorry. Let me repeat that. If you are a U.S. citizen and you commit a crime or are found guilty of a crime, for example, unless that crime concerns fraud in your application, you cannot be deported out of this country. So a lot of folks have been deported, and rightly so because they only have green cards. But when it comes to deporting a citizen, that is a horse of a different color. You have more rights. And I would urge you to get those rights. I would urge you to get those rights if you want your other family members to be sponsored. And I would urge you to get those rights if you want to make sure that you're equal and equalize and level playing field, and that you can also access federal benefits and things of that nature. This is a great country. It's a great nation. And you must, within the laws and within the provisions, also make use of what is out there for us. I also want to talk to you about if many people have asked if their children were born here, they have a baby here, they're not legal, or they may just be on green card holders if their children are born citizens. So the question is, as my child a born citizen, which the Constitution provides for, if I am not, I'm not documented, I came on a banana boat, I came through the back door, I came, I'm illegal, I'm undocumented, I don't have status. But the law is still the same. Your child is a born American citizen. Your child has the portfolio of being an American citizen entitled to remain here. But mind you, only the child has that right. You can be deported if you put yourself in a situation where you're deportable, commit a crime, caught drunken driving, domestic violence, committing crimes, rape, all these sorts of things, robbery. So, whereas your child may be allowed to stay, you may be sent home, and that is your problem, because you are given your child, however, has that right. There's no differentiation between a child born to American parents who were generations here and a child born to an undocumented or illegal or an alien or whatever you may call that person. So let's put it this way. If, let's say, Mary did not came from Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica, Africa, India, Sri Lanka, wherever, Australia, Ukraine, many people come to America for the dream. This has always been the dream country to come to, the greatest country in the world. Whether in theory or not, that is the concept and that is the brainwashing, perhaps, that some people endure, and perhaps in reality it has a lot of good things. America is a great country. If it is trumped up to be great, then people sometimes think that it is great. But we're not here to debate whether America is fully accredited or whether it's the greatest country on earth. But it is a great country. Let's put it at that. So if that Mary comes here and she gets a child and she doesn't have her papers or her documents, her child remains and will be a born American citizen. So the child status does not depend on Mary's illegality or illegal status or overstay or undocumented status or anything like that. She also has the right, or kids, to remain here. But she is advised to try to get her legal documentation, get her paperwork in order, walk safe, do not get into problems, pay her taxes, keep out of trouble, and continue to file taxes, continue to see how best that she can then access the American dream through one of the categories that allow. Not to go and get fake documents or fake IDs or fake socials. That doesn't help. That is the worst thing you can do, because then if that comes to light, you can be deported and charged for a crime. So basically, these are the issues on immigration law. I've spent 36 minutes on that. I wanted you to be aware. I'll summarize now. If ICE comes knocking your door as a police officer or whosoever, or even the building department, you don't have to open your door. Two, if they have a warrant, you have to see the warrant, slip it under the door. You don't just open up your door. You check and see if it's signed by a judge. If it is not signed by a judge, by an immigration officer, then you have the right not to open your door. You will be able to sue if they kick down and break down your door, because that will be an illegal entry and you'll be entitled to damages under the law. You don't have to say anything. You have the Fifth Amendment right. You have the right against self-incrimination. You can tell them, I don't wish to say anything. You invoke the right. Invoke the right that I wish to have my lawyer present. Secondly, you also say, I don't have anything to say. I don't not be signing any documents. Because the documents you'll be signing may very well be the documents that are deporting you or they're used against you as a waiver. Just because documents are floating around in the MV Barima to settle and to sign that you receive X amount for the funeral or what have you, and therefore you're giving up your rights, or how it happened in Madia when the people signed, I think it was $5,000 or $500, I can't remember what it was. But they got very below what they could have gotten. So you don't sign documents without the advice of counsel. You don't sign that. And also with the relatives in MV Barima, when they were told to sign that you want this to be a memorial site, and people said, no, we're not going to sign that. That's the right thing, because you sign away your rights, and you could very well be signing away your future earnings or future compensation or any kind of rights that have accumulated from that disaster. And that is something that you don't want to have. That is not something that is trivial. That is not something you want to give away. That is not something for for people to play with. So these are the basic rights there. And if you need a lawyer, call 311, or you call the Immigration Services hotline and you tell them you need a lawyer, I'm being arrested, I'm being deported, and they will put you before an immigration judge. You see, there's due process in this country, so you have to have a hearing. They don't just drag you and put you on a plane immediately. They put you through an immigration court. And in that court, you can raise your issues. Asylum, persecution, whatever it may be, can be raised at that forum. It must be based on truth and evidence and fact. If you lie, you're going to get into further trouble. You have to have a credible case, and you have to present a case that is based on facts, a case that is based on circumstances that you can show and you can prove. That is what that part is about. So that's how you protect yourself here. Hopefully there'll be a change in the policies of America. You know, the last president who gave amnesty, you had President Reagan, Ronald Reagan, a great president, a Republican president, but a great president. Ronald Reagan, following Abraham Lincoln, who also emancipated slaves. These are great American Republican presidents. You also have Bill Clinton, who also had the grandfather law. He's Democrat. President Clinton, to his credit, although he sent a lot of people into jail with the drug laws, he also helped immigrants to be grandfathered in, to pay the fine, and to be part of this great nation, to help them assimilate faster. So that's an important thing about it, that America is always changing. It's a dynamic field. It's a changing area. It's an area of major concern, immigration law, and it's likely to change, and likely to change very quickly, because immigration is a dynamic subject in immigration law in this country. So that's my contribution today on immigration, and I want to close out. Also, this applies to bidding inspectors. Let's say a bidding inspector comes to your door. Rap, bidding inspector, Department of Buildings. Do you have to open your door to them? Same answer, no. You don't have to open your door to a building inspector. And I bring this up because we've had problems here in Richmond Hill and Ozone Park. As the community leader, people have come to me for help, and I've guided them. Now, neighbors have, Guyanese and a lot of other people have a habit of reporting their basements, the neighbors' basements, and the other people. If the neighbor looks at them too strong, or they get a problem, or they have a domestic fight, or they have some kind of ill blood and fence and so on, a lot of Guyanese, a lot of folks in the Caribbean come in with small minds and love to trouble with other people. And I've seen that. I've seen people trying to make problems and trying to create. They don't have nothing else to do, or the belly full, or whatever it is, but they behave like ignorant people. They behave like very, very, what they call ignoramuses. People who don't have any kind of class. People, as they call them, the last class in Guyana. They come in with the same gutter mentality, the same gutter rat mentality. and the same cesspool mentality. And they go and if the neighbor and them have a problem, instead of sorting it out, they go and complain that the neighbor got a illegal basement. And most likely, a lot of these homes have, because they depend on that income to help their families to make a living. So when they do that, that now becomes a problem, because the building inspector now has to act on it, because they call up 311, they make a report of a basement, and people now go and complain. And most times, when the building department come, they say your neighbor complained you. They always say that your neighbor made the report. So now they pit neighbor against each other. They divide communities, and they are lying. Just like how cops lie, just like how immigration lie, just like how the FBI lie. They can lie to you, but you can't lie to them. You lie to the FBI, it's a crime. Can the FBI lie to you? Oh yes, every day, minute upon minute, second upon second, they're allowed to lie. That's a law. That's how the law is written. That the FBI can lie to you, police officers can lie to you, billing officer can be lied to you, city can lie to you, state can lie to you, federal government can lie to you. You have no redress. But if you lie to them, you're going to jail. If you lie to them, you have a problem. You're going to be charged, you're going to be put in jail. So when the building department come and they said, okay, I'm from the department, I'm the building inspector, I want to see, you can tell them, well, I'm not opening my door to you, sir. I'm sorry, I have a Fifth Amendment right and I'm standing on it. I'm sorry, I cannot accommodate you. I'm invoking my right to the freedom and the privacy of my home. I am not opening my door. I need to have a lawyer. Please leave my premises. The building department has to leave, and they will leave a note. They will just leave a notice saying that call us, we're going to come back and inspect. Most people do not bother with that note because it is not mandatory for you to incriminate yourself. That's a law that follows that note. You don't have to call them back and say, come and open your door and give them the red carpet. Oh, I have this here in my basement. I have this this person living here. I have this kitchen. I have this stove. For God's sake, let them go and catch real criminals. These people are struggling to live and make a living in America. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying we've got to get our priorities right, where the building department, where immigration, and where criminal activities and investigations are concerned. And that is not the way for it to be done. So the simple solution is to not open your door. And if the Department of Buildings come, like ICE, like immigration, I'm sorry, but I can't help you today. I'm sorry, I can't open my door. I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you in. So that is your rights under this. As we take a short break here and I go into the MV